All right, what's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Unaligned and Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, Jack, and today I'm joined by a fellow spinal fusion baddie, runner, and mom, and this is Natalie. I'm so excited to meet you. Hi, Natalie. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, I'm excited to be here and finally connect after quite a few months.
Yes, we did. We played touch and go because we had to reschedule, but it's okay. Sometimes your spine, you wake up, you can't do things. So that's what we do. We just, what's that called? Pivot. That's my
Yep.
word this week, pivot. Well, awesome. I'm so excited you're here. So tell me a little bit about yourself and kind of take me on your journey with spinal fusion, starting at a young age.
Sure. So I just want to say thank you again for having me.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to share I had to really dig deep into my memory. So in 2026, it'll be actually 25 years since I had my spinal fusion, um, which is
Yay.
kind of mind-boggling to think about. But I was diagnosed in middle school with scoliosis. I grew 5 inches in 2 years at one point, and they were like, "Oh, that's a red flag," but they never followed up on it. Um, and very unusual to some people. I never had any pain, so I had no idea what was actually
Did
going
read
on.
about that. No pain at all.
Nope. I was,
So
I played
interesting.
basketball, I played softball, I was very active in sports, but never had any issues. So when, that school nurse check, they were like, "Oh,
Yes.
this actually looks kind of advanced. You should go get it checked out." I was like, "Okay." So we got it checked out, and my thoracic curve was like upper 40s at that point. um,
And what age were
but
you when you got like
oh
that
gosh,
first?
I was probably seventh grade, maybe.
Okay. Yep, yep.
Um, and I had already stopped growing at that point. Um, so they're like, let's try a brace anyway. So I had a brace through most of eighth grade, and it stopped at like a little bit, but ultimately progressed to about 52 degrees. My thoracic curve in particular.
That was already at 40.
Yeah, it was like upper 40.
Wow.
So it kind of it
Okay.
stabilized a little bit, but then when I was out of the brace, it increased. Um, so the hospital I was at, I'm originally from Wisconsin, and I have to shout out the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. They have a fantastic orthopedic area, so that's where I was treated and had my surgery. Um, they recommend surgery at 50 degrees. So even at 52, they're like, it's up to you what you decide to do, but we recommend the surgery because it will prevent pain later in life. And it's interesting now to look back on that being like, well, I didn't have any pain to begin with. So,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen later in life, but we elected to do it. So I finished my freshman year of basketball, and 3 days later, I had surgery. So I was
Right
like,
in
can I
the
at least,
beginning of ninth grade.
yes,
Is that?
yeah.
Wow.
So I was like,
How was
can I at
that?
least get through my season? Like, I just really want to finish.
Yeah. I just want to play sports and like hang out with my friends, please. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a Friday we finished, and then Monday I was right in, early at Children's in the operating room.
How did just like to pause there because I went through it like at an older age, and how did you feel as a young, like a young girl, like a teen girl going under surgery? How did you prepare for that? Like I know it's been a while, but like thinking back, like how, because it's just so badass to me that like, it's a hard surgery. What we go through is really hard. And I just like can't imagine like 15-year-old me doing it because I was just such a mess at 25. So it's just it's really, did you have like a good support system? You said the hospital is good. How did you mentally prepare for that as a young girl?
I don't know, it's interesting to think back now. I don't think I comprehended how intense and major this surgery was at the time. Um, because I guess there didn't have, well, I did have, a computer and stuff, but I didn't think to go look up anything about
Yeah.
scoliosis or spinal
No,
fusion at the
same.
time.
So
And I doubt there's probably much on it, way back in the early 2000s.
yep.
But scoliosis just was something I had. So it didn't, like it's because I didn't have any pain. I was like, okay, well, that's it. But I remember being fearful of dying, obviously, because
shame. That was a big
you
fear.
just
Yep.
it's a major surgery. But until after the fact, it was like going through it, like, wow, this was really very intense, and it was a very long surgery. Um, they had to take bone. I think it was from my hip instead. I think they try to do rib, but they took bone from my hip instead. Like there are all these things that later reading my surgery report, I was like, wow, this is
Wow.
so interesting.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't mean to say like I brushed it off, but I was
No,
so
I
young.
mean,
I
that's a
really didn't
valid thing. I feel
know.
like we kind of a lot of people I speak to that have the surgery, you kind of don't realize, like, nah, I just did it because that's what I needed to do. And then, like, years later, you're like, that was a lot.
Yeah, and I
So
I
that's
didn't
just
know,
very
no one else I
valid.
knew had scoliosis, so I had no one to. I didn't necessarily feel like I needed someone to talk. It seemed to
Yeah.
happen like relatively fast, but it was like, okay, we're gonna do this and we'll see what happens. And that's kind of how it turned out.
Yeah.
I think back in I don't know if you remember these, there's those little like kid necklaces with like the birthstone, and it's like the little child. And I got one
Yeah.
of my birthstone for my mom because I think in my mind I was like, oh, in case I don't make it or something, like
Oh,
here's my, I think that was part
yeah.
of, that's scary.
That is scary.
And going under with some nasty bubblegum,
Uh,
anesthesia. I mean, at least I remember going into surgery being on my back, and because I had just finished my basketball season, my knees were all bruised because I was a very constant like diving on the on the ground type player. And the surgeon was like, they were like, what did you do to your knees? So I was talking to them about basketball as I was like,
oh my goodness.
yeah,
The last conversation.
good times.
Nice. Very cool. Wow. Yeah, I think that's just a valid common thing with us is just you don't I don't know, you just do what needs to be done. But I'm glad like you said, you had good hospital, good team, so that's half the battle sometimes too. So that's good. That little
And I
you
think,
had support.
being at a children's hospital, I think was different. They're just used to dealing with that particular age.
Hmm.
And I was on a floor that's usually reserved for like really little kids because they didn't have enough space in like the floor I was supposed to be on. So I had a little more attention from nurses because they're like, "Ooh, you're not a toddler."
Yeah. I was also I think I was in peds. Even though I had it at 25, I think you could be in peds till 21. I was in
Yeah.
peds. I was like, this is where I'm going.
Yep. They just
Awesome.
understand it, but I don't know why. There's a different way of handling it. I
There is.
feel
They're
like.
definitely trained differently in pediatrics, I feel.
Hmm.
Love ped nurses. What I know you said, I don't know, I've read so much. Like, tell me. All right, so we're out of surgery. Uh, what else? Take me on the journey of like years, a little bit years after that. Like, kind of, what's your first memories as a kid with your spinal fusion, or did you not really? Like, I don't know. Like, I personally ignored my spinal fusion. I pretended that I didn't have one for years after. So I'm just curious, how was it for you? Like then, moving on, going out through life, and growing up with your spinal fusion.
This is a theme that'll come back later, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
I think being active beforehand was very helpful in recovery. I didn't realize that at the time, but I didn't have PT after my surgery, which is another point we could talk about later
Oh
too.
yeah. What? What?
um, so I had surgery in February, and I was home for most of the rest of the school year. They had a tutor come in and help me, but um, I was just moving slowly, like wasn't like we all would, just kind of
Yeah.
navigating what it feels like. But later in, I think October, November of that same year, I was back playing varsity basketball. I was very cautious with, I'm 5'9", so I was a taller player. But anytime someone would come up against me, that I was a little like I was, ooh, like that's. So I had to kind of
Yeah.
get my playing like feeling back a little bit. Um, I really don't recall having issues with like just kind of I transitioned really slowly back to playing because basketball is a very contact sport.
Yes.
Um, and you realize as you get older, different feelings come up, different discomfort comes up.
Yes.
And, within a few months, I think I was at practice one day and I took a really deep breath in and just like, I felt just, it's hard
Like
to describe the feeling. It's
resistance.
not a twinge.
Yeah.
It felt different. So I kind of like took myself out of practice that day and just kind of eased back into it. And it's, learning how to do
Move
things you were
again.
very used to
Yeah.
doing in your body. And as a teenager, it was like, that's not stuff I really thought about a lot until I did something and I was like, oh, that did not feel great.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
but this is actually how I got into running. I never ran. I never wanted to in middle school. I didn't like it apparently. But
I would never know
uh,
that now.
I know it's really
That's
funny because
so
I
interesting.
used to do like long jump and high jump. I can't
Okay.
jump very high, but I would like to, I did high jump,
That's like
which
the
I
track
could
and
not.
field stuff, right? When you
Yeah,
like
more the
jump across
field,
sand.
less
Okay.
less the track.
Okay. Okay.
But because of how the high jump is, that was something I could no longer do because of how your back, you have to twist your body to go over the bar.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay,
Oh,
well, I still want to be involved in something. I guess I'll run. Um, so they put me in the 800 meter and 1600 meter. So I was usually a half mile to a mile type runner,
okay.
and it was fine. Like I, really didn't have any issues, um, or any issues I didn't realize at the time. I know now. I'm sure the lung capacity that
Yeah.
that comes with scoliosis a lot, and just how it's all shaped. That's breathing can be difficult on humid days, or if I'm running too fast and it's humid.
Yeah.
Um, that was diagnosed as exercise-induced asthma when I was in high school, which maybe it was,
What?
but I kind of have a feeling that
No.
it was
Yeah. That
likely
makes
scoliosis related.
scoliosis because you wouldn't think that either because I really up until I think a year and a half ago, whenever I first met Dr. Betts, Strength and Spine, didn't really think about like the whole 3D scoliosis thing. I really just thought, oh, my back is boop boop, but it's
Well,
like
like I
the whole rib cage, just everything.
and the
Why?
twist. The
Yeah,
twist is the one thing I kind of forget about.
me too. I was like, so much to work.
And it's like, how that impacts all of us so different. Like, I mean, kind of I'm trying to lean this way. I definitely
I
this
know.
is
I'm
I
like,
prefer.
you always just want to go into your curve. Like, let me relax.
I and my chair at where I work, I actually have the left side armrest propped up a little higher. So if I do lean, I can't go down as far.
That's so
Um,
smart. See,
because I
little
found myself
things.
really like I love to go that way, and I was trying not to. So I was like, let me put it up higher so I can't. Uh,
I'm trying to do that right now.
it, it
That's a good
it's not it
idea.
was not it's not always successful, but it would occasionally work.
Yeah. Wow. Good thought. Good
But yeah,
thought.
the rib capacity is just again, as you get older, you learn all these different things with it, and that's not one thing I ever had realized at the time. Um, and it took till years later also to realize that my so the other of the many things scoliosis does to my body, uneven hips, the really big lean, even though despite surgery, my thoracic spine still is at 26 degrees.
Oh,
My
okay. So
lumbar is
they're
also still 26 as well. I've
okay.
used
Oh, so they're
like,
both 26. I read and I
yeah,
didn't realize you still have some. Okay. So there's 26, 26 residual after surgery.
I didn't realize my lumbar was still the same until I got my surgery report when I was pregnant, because I was talking with the doctors about could I get an epidural, or is that something I mentally need to prepare for not getting.
Not getting. Oh,
So I had my whole detailed report, and I was like, oh wow, like I'm actually fused in a different spot than I thought. I'm about like I think T2 to 3 down to L2 to 3.
okay.
I thought it was just thoracic, but apparently my lumbar is still a little curved, and is about 26 degrees. So, um, but so we've got all these different things. The ribs are just, how they are. And then my shoulders were really rounded forward, which I never knew. It's one of those things like I would look at myself in the mirror, but it's hard to know that. And I think I was just out of college, and I was in a wedding, and I saw a photo of myself, and I was like, from the side, and I was like, whoa, my shoulders are really like wow, um, is that why I'm getting so much pain
Yeah.
in my
Like,
shoulders and
what's
my
going
upper
on?
back? Um, but it's interesting to me that that is, I want to call it like a physical, like structural symptom of scoliosis with your shoulders rounded, but surgery didn't fix that, or they didn't think to send me to PT to, like,
Yeah.
pull them
Pull
back.
them back.
There's a fellow runner and PT that actually, it's funny, I actually started following her on Instagram and ended up connecting with her to be treated. She helped kind of naturally pull my shoulders back, which is also how I got into strength training a little more, because like they were just so, like, I'll send you a picture, but they're so rounded. It's crazy now. Like they're still a little bit, but with a lot of targeted strength training, they're a
You're
little
like
more I want to say natural looking, but it's pulled back
pulled
a little
back.
more.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So you were able to like, it's so cool. Like, I guess, I don't know if that's like, but I find it cool. Like on my own journey, it's like, like you just like start to notice these things about yourself post up, and then like you go on this journey to explore the why of it. And like, that's great that you did, because you got like, strength training out of that, and just
Mm-hmm.
a whole new journey of, self-discovery. So I feel like we're always learning new things
You have
later
to, because
on
like
after your surgery.
and I feel like as a runner, and also as a, having spinal fusion, I'm very in tune with when something feels off.
Off.
Just very in tune with my body. And it just makes me more aware of all these things. Like if I lift something too heavy, or if I'm bending at the waist instead of bending down to play with my daughter, like I notice when I'm doing too much of things I shouldn't be doing.
Lovely little signals will pop up.
Especially being so tall, it's hard to get down to the
I know. I
ground,
always wonder, like, what does it look like from up there? Because, like, I think I'm 5'3". So I'm like, just always like, must be so fun to be tall sometimes. I don't know. Like, I was excited to grow. I think I was like 5'2" before surgery, and I grew like 1 inch. I was like, woo! Not like the tall one in my family, because my mom's like 4'9" or 4'11".
Wow.
So I feel tall.
I think I grew maybe like a half an inch, and I was like, that's it?
That's all I get.
Give me more.
Give me more. Oh, cool. Well, that's a few things I want to touch on, but I really just like who, because I love that you're a. Take me on. All right, I'm going backwards a little bit before I go forward and talk about being a mama.
Backwards. Gotcha.
I didn't even get it. That's funny. So, pretty much, I know you just explained how many years later was that when you did? Because I know they didn't offer physical therapy after. So were you just like bed resting, kind of doing things at home, getting just healing and not doing any physical therapy, and then just back to basketball? Because I know you said
Hmm.
you were back to basketball too at the end of
Yep,
that.
pretty much.
Oh, okay. It's wild.
So I did basically just went right into basketball. Ends up being like, it's probably more intense now, but at the time, it goes through the summer. So I was just kind of walking around, getting more of the, shooting movement back, getting that upper
Okay.
body kind of a little more prepared. And then, so this is early 2000s still. I can date myself. I graduated high school in 2004. I
Okay.
feel so old.
No.
But yeah, like I said, I just didn't think anything of it. There was maybe one other person in my high school who had a similar surgery, and I think it was for scoliosis. She actually had the turtle shell brace, so
Okay.
and wore it over her clothes after her surgery. So I didn't have a brace or
Oh.
anything like that after. I had it before, and I wore it under my clothes. Because what teenage girl wouldn't want two sets of clothes, one for brace,
No.
one for
One per.
one non. um, but that, yeah, like I said, it was, I hate to say high school was like, it was like uneventful
Okay.
with it. The I think getting older, and the longer you get from the surgery, it's just your body's adapting to certain things in your lifestyle. So like getting into college was I wasn't running as much, was not involved in sports, and was sitting in classes or studying. So I was still just not as active.
Okay.
Um, but really didn't think anything of it. Like
No.
I didn't have any issues. And it's just so interesting to think back on it, just how our experiences and everything is so unique and so individual. And
Yeah,
it's I try to talk about this on Instagram a lot too. It's like what works for me might not work for you because of your situation. And like we could have the exact same curves, but it all presents in our bodies very,
differently.
very differently. And that makes it so challenging
So,
to live with.
yeah, it's so interesting how you can have such similarities and differences too with like treatment or what was done or how things do show up in your body.
Hmm.
So as you got older, may I ask, I know it's a personal question because you have a little one. Did you always want a little one and like how was that journey of, kind of taking that on? I personally don't want children, but I know so many people may do, and this they don't give you a lot of information about how to go on life with a spinal fusion and have a little one. So how take me on that journey.
I knew I always wanted a child. I'm an only child, and I was like, one seems good for me, but we'll see if the experience changes me or if I would end up wanting more. So uh, we got pregnant in 2023, and again, I don't mean to say my whole journey through like rose-colored glasses, but it's surprising to me I didn't have any issues with
Good.
with my
No.
back, which is
Good.
fantastic.
That's awesome.
And I coming back to more larger themes, I think it was from how active I was beforehand.
Yeah.
My husband and I had just run the Walt Disney World Marathon in January of 2023. He did the Dopey Run, which
I do love that
is
you guys run together. I've read about that. Like, God, that's so cool. Your partners, your running partner.
we do. We
So
have
cool.
we've been doing this for about 10 years now. Because running side note, but we utilize the run walk method, which
Okay.
I can
That's the
talk
only
about
method
that
I know.
later too. It's it's really helpful in like you run for a certain amount of time, then you walk for a certain amount of time, and you just do it on a repeat. But it's
Okay.
helpful for me and like honestly, um, catching my breath sometimes, and it lessens your chance of injury because you're not just pounding the pavement constantly.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it too.
Hmm. And some people it can feel like you're not a runner because you run walk, but I keep trying to talk about it like, well, you're still covering the same distance as everybody else. You're putting in the work. You're doing it in
Yeah.
your own way and in a way that works for you. And I know our good friend bionic ballerina Meredith often says it's like
Yeah.
you're the one who knows the pain and discomfort you're experiencing. The runner next to you who might be doing something different is not going to know
Doesn't.
that. They're not going to feel that. So you need to do what works best for you. Do, like don't
Block it
care
all
about anyone
out.
else. Like block it
Yeah.
out. Like they like what they think, it's not going to matter. It's what you think because you're the one who's feeling either the good effects of running or the discomfort one day.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a little tangent, but
No,
I
I love it. It's so
so
true.
we stopped when after we did the marathon, we took a little bit of a break from running, and we found out we were expecting maybe 3 months later. So I think my body had rested and it was like, okay, we're ready now. Um, but the whole journey was fine. Like I kept waiting for the shoe to drop with my back, and it didn't.
It
Um,
makes me happy that it didn't drop.
it
you
no,
know?
and like I said, I'm continually surprised because with my low back not being fused, I was sure that as the you get a little more front heavy with your belly, you're gonna arch, and you do funny.
Yeah.
Your body will compensate in other ways, especially ours that are fused. It does things we don't. I don't know
I don't
sometimes.
know what it's up to.
Um, but I made sure to like I had my usual toolbox of things, my heating pad. I was stretching, doing like more hip stretches than I normally would do. Um, but one of the really challenging things I found is I will get your thoughts on this too, because so I'm a
Yeah.
back sleeper. I
Yes.
can't sleep on my side. What about you?
I'm a back sleeper. I do like the coffin sleep like on Dracula. That makes me happy. But I really, really am guilty of loving that position that's on your stomach that we can't do anymore when you have that
Oh,
one leg up and the one leg. I miss that. But
it's so funny because I stomach, I just can't, my back just doesn't, it
It
doesn't want
hurts.
to do it. But
Can't do that anymore.
so I do it occasionally for stretching just because it does feel good.
Yeah.
Um, but being a big back sleeper, at a certain point in pregnancy, you're not supposed to do that. And I was like, oh
Oh.
no, this is not going to be good
And you
for me.
have to pick one side, right? You're not
There's
supposed to lay on, it's supposed to be your left side, right? Is that your,
I like there's one side that's better than the other, and I've already forgotten which
I
one it
really
is.
think it's
But
the left. Oh no, that's all right.
there was a there was this
Don't quote us on
pillow
that,
I
people.
found. Like I there's so many things for pregnancy that it's overwhelming. But I found this particular pillow. It's called I think it was a baby bub. So I took it to my OB and I was like, "Can you help me try to figure out how to sort of lay on my back, but not lay on my back?" So it's a little like wedge pillow. There's like one big side and one small side with Velcro in the middle, so you can adjust it based on how you grow. So I was able to, with my OB, I was able to get it so it's like underneath one hip, so I'm not on my back, but I was just a little off, like
I feel like that's
almost
how I
leaning to one
slept
side a little
after
bit.
surgery. Yeah, like you're kind of like propped up like a
Hmm.
little bit. Okay.
Just so I wasn't
Just
totally
so you
flat,
weren't totally flat.
and it helped me so much.
Good.
Like there was only I think one time I can remember that I actually was so uncomfortable sleeping and like had to wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. But other than that, like it was
Nice.
totally fine. But that was actually one of the bigger like trouble spots for me was not being able to sleep on my back.
Yeah.
But my OB they were very helpful. And the other like interesting part, like I think I've been fortunate to have pretty good doctors along the way. And if I've dealt with someone who either doesn't listen to me or doesn't take the discomfort I'm talking about seriously, I go find someone else. So I'm like, I don't have time to deal with you if
No.
you can't listen to me.
Gaslighting and no,
Um,
bye-bye.
but I had one of my OB. We had like a rotation of three OBs, and one of them asked me, has anyone told you that like pregnancy would be difficult or that you would have trouble giving birth because of your spinal fusion and your scoliosis? And I was like, no. Like, thanks for putting that in my head, but
Yeah,
no.
what? Oh,
So I mean, I think they're just trying to give me a whole picture a little bit, but I was very open to talking about like I didn't know if I wanted an epidural or not. It's sometimes it's not really a want, sometimes you need it, but
you need it, yeah.
I went into the whole experience very open and I was very upfront with everybody. I saw like I have scoliosis, I have a spinal fusion, here's where it is. Because I also needed to be mentally prepared if I could not get the pain relief that I might want. And I don't know, all in all, it was a very lovely experience, and I'm so thankful that I came through it fine.
Yeah, me too.
um, the I would say I can go into a little bit. The actual birth itself was also it was very fast,
Okay.
which again I think it's being active, and I
Yeah, right,
was
because they usually say the first is like long, right?
oh like it's gonna be you're gonna be late. It's going to be a long labor,
Okay.
anything.
Wow, no, it's fast.
It
Yeah.
was pretty fast. So I wasn't sure what there's many different schools of thought on labor positions and all of that. And I was trying to do my research because I'm like, if in the moment maybe I'm not going to want to be on my back, maybe that's what's going to cause it to hurt, or hurt from not from labor but from a scoliosis standpoint.
Standpoint, yeah.
Um, I really didn't have time to think about that a lot. My water broke about 3.5 weeks early, and everything was fine. She was. I think I could when she would kick me, I could feel like little reverbs up my spine a
Oh,
bit,
wow.
which
Well,
maybe
that'd
it's
be
because of the rods,
interesting.
but
Yeah.
it was just a really bizarre type feeling. And one night I was really getting kicked like a lot. And it was like after midnight, I was just awake. It was after midnight. I was like, I should probably go to bed. Half hour later, my water, like kind of movie style, just like in bed, just
Yeah.
completely everything everywhere. Um, and it was like maybe 1 in the morning. We went to the hospital and they're like, okay, so here, like they hooked me up with everything. Here's your monitor. Here's your monitoring your contractions. And I was like, what? I
Contracted? What?
did not feel anything. Um, and it went fine. I think we went into the labor and delivery room like 11:30. She was born just before 3. I waited on the epidural for a really long time.
Yeah.
um, because I was like, oh, if I either can't get it or if they have trouble getting it, because I spoke with an anesthesiologist before everything happened, so they were prepared, and they had my surgery report, they had X-rays, so they could see where the rods went. Because one of their concerns with why they might not be able to do it would be because of scar tissue, and they usually do the placement, I believe, in L2, L3. So depending how far my rods actually went down and with the twisting of my spine, it was
Yeah.
like we will do our best, but just so you know, there is a possibility it might not be able to happen. So they did it, and it
They
worked.
did. You were able. Okay.
The hardest part was we when they were putting it in, needles freaked me out. Like obviously I can't see it because it's on my back, but I had to hug a pillow while in labor while they got it, in my spine. That was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever
Yeah,
had
I
to go
can't.
through. We got the epidural. She was born less than an hour later. It was maybe 3 to 4 pushes, and we were there. There we go. And I did it all on my back. Also, which I was not expecting to be comfortable do. I mean, I guess labor pain and being comfortable, those are
Yeah.
two those are two interesting things. But I wasn't expecting to do it on my back. But at the same time, it all happened so fast, I didn't have a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah.
We'd also had we were a little late in scheduling our birthing class, so we hadn't taken it yet. We had it scheduled for the Wednesday, and she was born
I
Sunday.
mean, that's fair. She came
So,
3.5 weeks early. We thought we had time.
yep, thought we had just a little more time.
That's
Um,
too funny. Her, I was reading. That was this month, right? Happy October, right?
she's gonna
You
be
gave
2
birth.
in a few
It's going to
weeks.
be two.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I think,
Hmm.
oh, very cool. Love October. Good month.
But yeah,
Oh, I love that.
it's been a journey, and learning like motherhood in general, first time motherhood,
Yeah.
also as an older mother, geriatric pregnancy, the technical term.
The technical term. I'm like, really?
um, but it's interesting. Dr. Laura, she's been putting out a lot of information about pregnancy postpartum
Pregnancy.
with spinal fusion, which it again, at the time when I was kind of reading up on things, it still just didn't exist. So I was kind of
New.
navigating the terrain, um, on not like totally on my own. I was doing as much research as I could, but at some point it's like you just got to see what happens.
Yeah,
You can prepare yourself with information, and then whatever happens, happens, and you kind of roll with it.
exactly.
Um, but it's the things that you don't expect necessarily, like breastfeeding was a big that does a number on your back even if you don't have scoliosis at a spinal fusion, because you're contorting your body holding an infant to
Ooh,
try to, and you're concerned with, are they getting enough milk, are they latching on, and you're like, you know going all over the place. And especially with my wanting to lean into my curve more, it's like that's my comfortable side holding her, which is not great, because then I'm
yeah.
I'm
You need to like
really
be
leaning into
conscious
it.
about like holding your baby while you're, that's some things that someone, without a spinal fusion or scoliosis wouldn't have to think about, like holding their
Hmm.
baby. And that's something you did. Wow, I'm glad you shared that because I didn't think you think about like giving birth, but like the afters, everything you have to do after.
And
Like
even
must be a
even
journey to
just
learn.
just being in the hospital, which was fine. We had to stay an extra night because she had a little bit of jaundice going on, so they had to take care of that. But just lying in the hospital bed and not getting up enough to walk, that was like I know better than that.
Yeah.
At the time, just I think the shock of her coming early and making sure she was okay, I was okay, and like it just, I was trying to rest as much as possible, and then that, oh, my back was just not agreeing
Not
with me.
happy.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
But
goodness.
everything turned out good, and we're still doing well. I feel like I have not gotten a massage in quite a while, and I feel like I need
Do
I
you
need a
like
little muscular
massages?
reset.
As someone with like a spinal fusion and scoliosis, do you like massages? I haven't done it yet.
I wouldn't say I dislike them. I'm not running to go get them. It made me very nervous, and I'm like, you don't want to be nervous getting a
Uh,
massage because then you
I
can't
know.
relax.
That's how I feel. So I haven't gone.
I think it depends on the practitioner you go to, and again, somewhere with finding a doctor is takes some research. in my area. I've been trying to find someone for when I'm ready. And I literally search massage therapist, like I search scoliosis to see if I can
Okay.
find anybody. Um, I've found a few that I might look into, but I should do the same thing with physical therapists. The couple of times I've needed PT, I've been specifically trying to find people. Do they have scoliosis? Do they have a spinal fusion? Or like just because there may be a little more personal knowledge that they bring to the table that might be able to help me.
Yep. I feel like after surgery, I did have PT, but I didn't have stroke specific.
What was your PT like? Was it just for getting movement back? Like, what was your experience with it?
We did like this thing with like when you're sitting and you're in your position, you're just moving the arms, or like when you're laying flat, you have your knees up and you're just moving those back and forth. Just like I feel like getting the body unstiff and walking, but
Hmm.
like no corrective exercises. I was never offered that or the brace. It was just like they always wanted me to do surgery, and I denied that shit forever until I couldn't anymore. But now I'm also on that journey of like, okay, it's been, some time. Let's start finding people I trust and maybe getting massages and, getting that regimen going that is so important to take care of a fused spine as the years do progress because like you said earlier, new things come up and I'm like, I just passed year 9 and some new things are coming up and I'm like, oh, I hate it.
But at least sometimes I hope that, the more we keep learning, we recognize what might have triggered it.
Yes.
But sometimes I keep name dropping. Dr. Beth talks about this a
Yeah,
lot
go.
too. The tricky thing is like scoliosis pain, like there's not often a pattern to it. It comes and goes as it pleases, and that makes it very frustrating and very challenging
It
sometimes
is
to deal
so
with.
annoying. It's
Hmm.
like, I don't know what, I don't know. And then it's like, oh, now it like begins like, because it's one, it's like, okay, you genuinely should go find a doctor now. Like it's time to go get
Yeah.
new images. You got to do it. You got to do it. And it's like, okay, you know, got to get your mental capacity to be like, all right, let me go on this journey of like trying to find a new doctor and things like that. Cause I know that's exhausting, at least for me,
And
I feel like.
the doctors can be challenging. The PTs I've had a little more success with.
Yeah,
I've never minded PT because I'm like, well, at the very least, it can help me. If it doesn't help my scoliosis, it'll just help me in other ways. Just with
that's true. That's a good way
getting
to
my
look at
muscles
it.
a little more unstiff and just doing just that type of movement. There's something about it that is just when you're sitting all day or whatever, that movement is
Yeah.
helpful in ways you don't necessarily realize. But I haven't had to do PT in a little while, but I was actually doing it right when we were marathon training 2 years ago. I was getting a lot of pain in my hip. And I was like, oh, why? Like, I've never had this pain before. And it was very frustrating. So I found a PT. We were living in New Jersey at the time, and I was working in New York. So I found a PT in the city. And she also happened to have scoliosis. And I was like, yay. And it was a running specific PT company, which was really helpful because they
Oh,
have a little bit of a different, more specific knowledge of issues that runners deal with. And I was talking to her a lot about scoliosis, just trying to figure it out. And she's like, it could be like, we're not going to know really what specifically is causing this, but likely would be because your hips are uneven. Your body's been compensating for it all these years. And all of a sudden it's like, nope,
I'm tired.
you're just going to be in
You're
pain,
just
and
gonna be in pain.
we're done running 10 miles or more without giving you a little like nudge of like, this hurts us. Um, which is just, it's so frustrating because like you don't think about, oh man, my body really has been compensating. I
Yeah.
the leg length and uneven hips is not something I notice on the regular. So it doesn't enter my mind until then I get pain like that. And it was literally a pain in the butt. um
Yeah.
and it was so awful.
It's like the one where it's
uh, but it was helpful. Like I ran the race no problem, and
amazing,
felt really
Natalie.
good after. But I'm not up to running that type of distance right now, and I don't anticipate to for quite a while.
You've run up
Um,
quite a few though marathons. I was reading you've had quite a journey with marathon running, so
we did
that's amazing.
it. It's
It's really cool.
I talk about this a lot too. I do find it very helpful in maintaining my back. Like yes, aches and pains come up. That's expected with running, whether you have scoliosis, a fusion, or not. But kind of going back, I do think it helps the lung capacity because you're just really, you're focused on breathing when you're running, but also your form is so important. And that my back plays into that a lot because if you don't have a strong core or trunk, when you get tired running, you're going to start to like cave into yourself and like slump. So, but that won't be good for my back. So it's very like, again, this is where the run walk comes into play, that it just helps me kind of regroup and be like, okay, we're going to run for X amount of time, again, and just kind of reset a little.
I love that. I love that you have like, I signed up. I don't know what I'm thinking, Natalie. I signed up to run 6 miles.
Yeah.
At Walt Disney in April on my birthday weekend. So we'll see. I haven't started training yet. I need to get my ass in gear.
Is this your first Disney race?
It was. I actually signed up for one this year. Sorry, I'm going to do some dark humor right now. But then my lovely, pretty much like a brother to me, he decided to, pass away, and I couldn't do the run. So I raised money. So now I'm working. Thank you. Now I'm working on like, you know what? I have to do the 3 miles. Now I'm training. I'm going to eventually like post the 3 miles. Like, thanks guys. And then I'm going to try and do 6 miles this year for him, kind of full circle moment. And just, yeah, I'm excited about that because it must be so fun to like run through the parks, like when it's nighttime. And I know you were also a Disney character, so I kind of wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, so I have a long Disney history. I'm very excited for you that that's your first Disney race. So that's really exciting. I love them. They're just a big party. You have to get up stupid early.
I know. I'm like, oh god.
But it's just such a cool experience, and it really is, I think, a celebration of like the runners and just it's a lot of fun. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited to like follow your training and stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, okay, I gotta start. So I have been. I'm like, well, reading your stuff on like running and things like that. I'm like, I have the most I've ever done is 3 miles, 5K, and I'm like, maybe it's time that I need to push myself and actually train because I also was reading all about, I think it was your 20-year post, like learning about how you're a Disney character performer and that I'm going to read it. You said, I sought out opportunities that took me out of my comfort zone and offered me chances to physically, mentally, and intellectually grow. Metal rods be damned. And I was like, what the fuck? I love this woman, Natalie. That is just like, yeah, I was like, okay, this is why I've decided to do my run. Like, this is it. Because I feel like I haven't challenged myself. I feel like it's sometimes something we need to do. So just reading all about your journey and that's just, yeah, I just want you to know you're inspiring me. So thank you.
Thank you. I say you also have a very personal and important why to run as well. So that I think is often like, it's a good motivating factor as well. And to do it in a special place like Disney is really, that's really cool. So I'm excited for you.
What characters did you, and these suits are 70 pounds with the fusion. So I'm just like, that is a workout all on its own. What was your experience as a character? And like, I know you said didn't like experience pain, but like, did those costumes ever feel heavy? And what was your favorite costume?
So I did the Disney College program when I was a sophomore, and I spent a semester down there, and I auditioned to be a character performer, and it's all based on height. So I was a very, very tall Pluto.
My dad's favorite character. That's so cool.
It's really funny because again, this was pre-smartphone. This was like 2006. So
okay.
That's gonna be 20 years coming up this spring. So any photos I have of myself is like it's all like just like digital camera or like literally like film camera. But it's funny because I could tell in a photo that it's me based on how I was standing. Like if I didn't bend down for like if a kid was of a certain height and I didn't have to bend down, my body is shaped, I can tell it's me. But so I had a little cast of characters that I was. Pluto was my main dog. I also spent some time with Eeyore.
Oh, that's my
She's
mom's favorite character. That's so funny.
my
Oh,
daughter loves Eeyore as
oh,
well.
that's a good
She's
cat.
got a little Eeyore stuffed animal, but that costume was tricky because Eeyore's a little front heavy with
Yeah,
his snout,
his
and
little
it
snout.
sits right here. So the headpiece comes on, and the body pad also sits on your shoulders. So I often had a lot of weight on my shoulders.
Shoulders, yeah.
So my neck would get a little sore, but my back was fine.
Okay.
I think this is where I really learned to, you know, getting down to a kid's level is very important because being 5'9", very tall, at a Pluto costume, and Pluto's huge. So to like a toddler, get that's which this is what saved my back, I think, during while doing this, is getting down on a knee. My knees were getting really, and my thighs were getting really sore, but that was really important in being able to interact with them without compromising my back. The one that was the most difficult, actually, I wrote about this in my I just graduated from journalism school this past spring, and I often wrote a lot of stories about if it wasn't
Hmm.
running, it was Disney or it was scoliosis. But I also had a few years doing Buzz Lightyear, and
Stop
I think
it.
they've changed the costume now, but at the time it was a good like 70 to 80 pounds. It was all plastic and buckles, and it
Oh
was
my
like
goodness.
his little, like the Buzz diaper, the pants, the suit, the
Yes,
jetpack is
the
very,
whole
very
thing.
heavy. And again, it's all on your shoulders. So that added weight, for a 10-hour shift, is a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and depending on the time of year, again, this was so long ago, I'm sure things might have changed now, but we would be outside for a half hour, inside for a half hour. In the heat of the Florida summer, we'd be outside for 20, inside for 40. And depending on the humidity and the heat, the time outside would decrease, depending if it
Decrease.
was really, really unsafe, because those costumes can get very, very hot.
I can only
Not
imagine.
surprising.
Yeah, they look very hot.
But just like how your body adapts to spinal fusion, you get acclimated to the costumes after being in them for
That's
a while.
true. That's a good point.
I had a few other characters in there as well. Occasionally Rafiki was another one.
Geek.
Occasionally I'd get a country bear in there, depending what
Nice.
they needed at the time. But it was a lot. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
And
that's such a
until
fun experience.
um, I stayed on with them like seasonally for a few years, and then I unfortunately had to stop. They changed how they were handling seasonal employees quite a few years ago. But going into my mid-20s, I was like, I don't think my back could handle this. If I'm only doing it a few times a year. If I was doing it on the regular, that would be different. But
Yeah,
I think ultimately that was a good decision. But it's one of those really cool things that like I can say that I did.
that's amazing.
Um,
Yeah, such a
and
cool
like
experience.
the spinal fusion didn't, like I said, I would have aches and pains. We all have aches and pains based on things we do,
Yeah,
but it wasn't it wasn't going to stop me from doing it. I'm like, if anything, I would do it, and then if I was forced to stop because my back was hurting, then I would stop. But I wouldn't let myself believe I can't do it because of
because of
my
spinal
spinal
fusion.
fusion. I think that's how I kind of view a lot of things. Like I won't know how my back is going to feel until I try it.
Do
I
it.
can be a little more cautious, or just go balls to the wall and go do it. Um,
Yeah. Up.
but
Sometimes you
I
gotta just go balls to the wall. Gotta do it.
Yeah, but being, you can't be afraid to try. Just because, like we said, my fusion is different from yours. So what you might feel doing the same thing I'm doing is going to be very different.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's
yeah,
important to note that we can do so much.
yeah,
Even,
yeah.
and although I think it's so helpful now because we've found community and you see other people doing it, but I had no idea that there was like Olympic people with like spinal fusions and people are doing rock climbing with spinal. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't I know about this sooner? So I like love rock climbing. Like, that's an amazing workout for spinal fusion. I would have never thought that it was. Like,
Do you
and it
find your
is.
back do you find your back stronger now versus pre-surgery for like rock climbing, or that type of
I
movement?
will say I fell off my fitness journey. I'm restarting everything. So I would say about a year ago, when did I like February of 2024. I was really into rock climbing, and yeah, my back was like so strong from it. Like I could like if I look back at pictures, I just felt stronger. Like so it's definitely something I want to get back into because with that with strength training, it's amazing to just see what your back can do. It's so cool.
You also just feel like a badass when you're just like
Right?
lifting
It's just
heavy
fun to
shit.
feel like a badass sometimes.
It's really empowering.
It is. It's like if I could just like have energy in the morning, it would be so easy. It's always like, oh, I don't know. But I know. Oh, I love that. That's cute. Oh, my goodness. So I really love Metal Rods Be Damned. It's so good. Because that's so
Yeah,
true.
that was I have to say that was it's still one of my most read blog posts actually.
Yeah, it's a great read. I really enjoyed that one.
Thank you. I revisit it from time to time because I was like, what was I really feeling at that point? Because some years when my fusion anniversary comes, I'm like, I don't know what to say, or
Yeah,
like,
I read,
just kind of
when
like
was that? Like 24
it is.
or
Yeah, it's just
23?
like we're just coming and going, we're living life, and
Yeah,
that's I
and that's
haven't had
it.
pain in a while, so that's great, and like
Yeah, I love that
that's
you
kind
did
of been
that
it.
though. When did you start? I wasn't able to. When's the first one that you did? I think you do them every 5 years. You said when you go on your blog and write every 5 years.
Um, I sometimes I think I've skipped a few years. I try to do it about every year.
Oh, okay.
What I've been doing about every 5 years actually, which is also kind of fun, is I do a photo a day project. I've done
Ooh,
two of them so far. When the year I turned 30, the year I turned 35, and then spoiler alert, there's a milestone birthday coming up in December. So I will start
yay!
just a 365 photo project, which is
So
really cool because
excited to see that.
there's a lot that's changed. And one of them, I think when I turned 35, that was during the pandemic. So it forces some
Okay.
creativity,
Yeah.
which is it's really cool.
Oh,
I
I
enjoy
have to
it.
go look. I'm excited. That's gonna be fun. So that's coming out for your birthdays in December. Your December
Hmm.
baby. Love that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I'm really excited to see that journey. That's so cool that you do that. I don't think I've done any. I did like one photo shoot, I think in 2022, and that was like really fun. I was like, it was just
It's
like your
really
pregnancy ones with your scar and like, oh my goodness, like those are
she did
beautiful.
she did such a good job. She's a photographer down in South Jersey. She does maternity and newborn shoots.
It was
And I told her ahead of time, I'm like, well, I really want to try to get a photo. I have no idea how this is going to work because belly's in the front, scars in the back.
yeah.
But she did such an amazing job, and just the outfits were really cool. The whole experience was really awesome. Whether pregnant or not, but like just the having someone else take your photos like that, it's not something obviously I do often, but it's really it's really empowering to see
It is.
what photographers can come up with to do with something so unique, like our spines.
Yeah, and I think it's so important for like everyone to realize that they can be that. Like
Hmm.
you're sexy, you're beautiful, and like you just like I love that she captured all of that too, because those I really do love those photos. I was looking at them like, oh,
It's one of those things I've really never like. My scars never bothered me.
I did
It's
see
gonna sound
personal tattoo. I'm like, I'm
yeah,
quoting you.
it's
I love it. I love your right.
it's it's interesting because like I think after a couple old fashions a few years ago, I wrote about this one too. Like I've never really seen my scar. You know what I mean? Like I've
Yeah,
seen it in photos, I've seen it in a mirror, but I've never obviously laid eyes on it, and it's weird for something that's impacted me so much that I've never seen it. Um, but I I always enjoyed wearing halter tops and other stuff before my surgery, so I was like, okay, I know I need to cover it up from like sun till it really heals, but it just never bothered me.
yeah,
Um, and I just thought it was kind of cool. So, like I said, because I can't see it, it just like it doesn't phase me.
yeah.
Again, I don't know. I was always a very shy person. I not always the most confident growing up either. Like I just really did my own thing, and it's like, well, if there's a shirt that has an open back that I want to wear, I'm just gonna wear it. Like
Yeah.
I hate to say I'm lucky, but like nobody has said anything to me about it, like
Yeah.
it doesn't, it you probably think more people are looking at it and care than they actually do.
too.
Like maybe that's also from, working in New York for so much, but I'm like, New Yorkers not, they're not
Yeah,
gonna,
we don't care
no one,
about
nobody's
anything.
looking. Nobody cares.
I'm
They're all
originally
doing
from
their
Long
own
Island.
thing.
I'm like, no one gives a shit. They're too focused on.
Hustle and bustle. Like it's,
Yep.
where would you want? It's, yeah, I feel like that's a New York mentality a little bit, but,
Yeah.
um, yeah, now I seek out the open back clothes,
Yeah.
because I
My
love it.
wedding dress, I'm like, open back, let's go.
That was my requirement when I was looking for dresses. I was like, it has to have an open back, and I want lace, and that's what we
Nice.
did.
Yes.
Like anything without an open back, I'm like, I'm not even trying it on.
Yeah.
It's
Like I've
not even.
always loved open back, even when I was younger. And like, I think like at prom is when I noticed like the first time of like like the shoulder blade hump kind of in my back. But even then, I don't know. I guess I was just so in love with the dress. Like I don't think. And then my scar, my mom was just like, "This is gonna be badass." So like, like I feel like that was encouragement too. So it's just I hope everyone will eventually, because I know I've read and like other people don't feel the same way about their scars.
Hmm.
So I love that you love your scar and you show it off. And I hope everyone, if you're listening, show your scar off. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
I feel
I
like there's
love
so
that.
many other things in the world right now that can get you down, and that's
Yeah.
the one thing I can control is how I feel about myself and about my scar. There's other things I could be self-conscious about, but if there's one that makes me feel really confident, it's how my scar looks. And just
Yeah, because look what
if
you,
someone has, if I wear something with an open back and someone has a problem with it, that's on them. That's not on
that's
me.
their problem.
Mhm.
Angry elves
Mhm.
from the South Pole, Well, I did want to ask you, um, which one do I want to pick? Mm, I'm gonna pick both. Sorry. I'm like, wait, I really like. If you could tell your younger self one thing about scoliosis and spinal fusion, what would it be?
That's a loaded question. Sorry, I'm so used to being the one asking questions, not on the other side.
You're good. Take your time.
um,
Let it brew.
I think not being afraid to let it stop you, which I think is kind of what I did. Like, um, scoliosis is a thing that I have. It's not me, if that makes like it's yes, it impacts me, but there are things that I can do and learn more to help, you know, live my life how I want to live my life. Scoliosis isn't going to stop me from doing that. Spinal fusion is not going to stop me from doing that. If I want to do something, I'm gonna go do
Yeah,
it.
I love that.
Maybe with the exception of, riding a roller coaster where my legs dangle, which I did do that a few times post surgery, and that's a no-no.
Oh yeah, me too. I was like, what was it? Oh my god,
Yeah,
no.
that was my teenage self was like, I can still do it. I can't. So yeah, we'll not be doing that again. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things like you don't need to it doesn't need to consume your whole mindset, your whole identity. You can feel what you need to feel and keep moving forward.
I love that. I think that's really important because I think a lot of us, I'm glad that you went back to basketball. Basketball, I feel like a lot of people, I was told to quit rugby. So it's just, um, I think it's just really great that you say that because I think some people may grow up with, people telling them they can't do anything with scoliosis because that they don't know that you can. So I love that. I love that you just like Meredith too. Like she just kept dancing and you just kept going back. It is a part of you, but it doesn't have to stop you. And I love that. So
And it's just like
good.
how your back adapts to it, you adapt to it as well. And
Yeah.
like, coming back to running again, that's why I do the run walk. It works for me. Like I
Yeah.
can I can still challenge myself while doing that. And that's what's important to me right now. So,
I love that. All right, I got one more for you. What's one thing about your spine and scoliosis you're grateful for?
ooh. I would say I'm grateful for the creativity it's allowed me a little bit, and the confidence it's given me to do things that I didn't necessarily think I could do. Like I would, ask my middle school self, like, oh, in 20 some years, you're going to run the New York City Marathon. And I would be like, get the fuck out of here.
So
No
cool.
way. I'm not even running at all.
What?
And it's another one of those things you won't know how you feel till you do it. And it's okay to be scared, like when you have a first 20-mile run, that's terrifying. But then you do it and you're like, damn, look what I can do with rods on my spine. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's
Um,
amazing that you could. I just can't, because it takes like what, 13 hours? Like 12? How long does that take? What
the
was your
marathon,
time? Yeah.
our first marathon, I think, was a little over 5 hours.
Oh, okay, I'm so dramatic. 13 hours. I'm like 1 hour per mile. Wow. Okay. Damn, that's a lot of ground to cover in such a short amount
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, we did run walk. I
That's
don't remember what our
amazing.
intervals were at the time, but like right now I run for about I just upped it the other day. I do about 4 minutes of running and I walk for 50 seconds and just do that kind of
Okay.
on repeat. There's a time we were running for 9 minutes and walking for 1 minute, and it you can customize it to what feels good for you. And like on a day when it's really humid, I will have a longer walk break just because I know the humidity is going to make it hard for me to breathe, and that's going to make me a little uncomfortable. There's a fine line between putting yourself in an uncomfortable running situation, like temperature weather-wise, and challenging yourself. So I always err more on the side of let me scale it back a little bit, because if I have a pain flare up or something, that's going to impact me more, especially now at caring for a toddler and just
Yeah.
I have more things on my plate than I did a couple years ago. So the pain days still happen, and I work with it, but I'm a little more cautious in my approach to lifting and running than I might have been a while ago, because I know one, lifting too heavy or doing something crazy running will set me back a little longer. So I yeah just
Yeah.
got to be a little more careful when now getting older.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
that didn't
know.
totally answer your question.
No,
Maybe like a little bit,
I
but
feel like it did.
um,
I'm like,
I
I
think
think.
the other really cool thing I've noticed is like um, so the concept of like how do you carry scoliosis with you outside of like physically carrying it with you. um I was thinking about this because I um in our one of our wedding pictures, I didn't note, again, the things you don't notice because you can't see, you see things through different lenses at different times when it comes to your
Yeah.
back. But I had one of our wedding pictures is of my back, and I have one hand wrapped around my back and my husband's holding my hand, and my wedding ring, the band is just ever so slightly askew. And what I noticed is that the it actually looks like an S curve, totally unintentional.
Really?
But like
I
this
need
is
to
gonna
go
be
see
really
this
hard to
picture.
see on here, but like I have my engagement ring, and then here's the band. So in the
Oh,
picture is just and because it's meant to fit around the ring like that, but
yeah.
separately it looks
It
like
does. It
a
looks like a
curved
little.
spine. And I just never, like I said, until I saw the picture, I was like, oh wow, that's actually really cool. But like my
It's
mind
really
first went to,
cute.
oh, my ring's askew. But wait,
But wait,
look at that. That's so cool.
that's really sweet. That's such a cute sentiment too. Like I feel like it's. I love that. Do you carry scoliosis? Oh, you're
Well,
gonna
that
make me
it's
think about that all day.
well, I came with props. I have there's
Let me
another
see.
one. The model Mar Hunt. She also had a spinal fusion.
I think I
Um,
just read about that in one of your blogs.
she
She's a Victoria's Secret model.
hmm
Okay,
or
tell
she
me.
I don't know if she does anymore, but she was at one point. She did connected with a jewelry brand, and I have a bracelet. It says
Oh,
I might butcher this, inégal in French, which means uneven, and then on the inside it says resilient. It's just a little rose gold band with a little
I
stud
love
there, and then
that.
that's all it says. But it's one of those things, I wear it, next to my garment. So I got my running, got my scoliosis.
Do anything like that? I feel like I don't know.
I said not all of it was intentional, but like it just I was just thinking about that, like how um not even just like pain wise or like physically carrying it with us, but are there ways you carry it with you if that's
In
in
like a
a piece
positive
of,
light or like a
yeah,
nice
in the piece of
light.
jewelry, or even like
Yeah.
in your mindset and how you kind of go about, your day to day. It's like, yes, it impacts you, but like, are there times where um you actually forget that you're fused? You don't feel it. You're feeling
Yes.
great. You're like, I don't, you
Those are
wouldn't
far
even
and
know I
few
have
between,
anything.
but like those are such weird days. Like when you really like, I call those I don't feel my back day. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like, wow, is this how people feel all the time who don't have back problems? You just like don't even know your back's there. It's so strange.
Do you actually, can you feel it? Do you feel your rods sometimes?
Yes. I don't like it.
It's really hard to describe how, like, when we were running last week, I don't know if it was the conditions or if my muscles were tight, but it was one of those, oh, that's a feel my back run. Like, it just,
Yeah.
you feel everything. And then other times, like I ran yesterday, nope, didn't feel a thing. Everything felt fine. I would never even know I really had, surgery or even
Yeah.
scoliosis. There's just some days where you feel all of it, other days, or let me circle back. You carry it with you more on other days than some when you're feeling really good.
Yeah. Have you noticed any I guess like patterns then in your in your in your oh my goodness. You should just I'm trying to think. I'm like 20 it's 20 years, so it's not 20 years, but you said it would be 26 years in February?
25.
25 years in February. Okay, I knew I was on a Cinco. I'm like, wait. Um so have you noticed any patterns like that with those days in your 24 almost 25 years of a fused spine? Because I've just I feel like there's no rhyme or reason to them yet, but maybe that's because I'm on this like newer journey of listening to my body, where maybe you've been listening to your body for longer because you've done marathon training and things like that.
I think I know a few of my triggers more. One might
Okay.
be stating the obvious, is a heavy backpack, or not a backpack that is not supportive. And walking to Disney World. So we go frequently. We're big Disney people.
Yay.
We're actually going for my birthday in December, which is really exciting.
Yay. That'll be fun.
But I have about three different bags that I rotate for Disney, and because you're on your feet constantly. Like, I walk more at Disney than I've run in quite a while. Like
Yes.
sometimes
Okay.
it's 10 miles a day, and you don't realize it because you're walking slower, but you're on your feet. You're moving. Um, so my back discomfort is often in the bags I carry. At least that's what I have found. So I do have one of those little mini like Disney backpacks like that they sell all through the
Yeah.
parks. Surprisingly, they're actually very comfortable. Or I have found, because they're pretty lightweight. But the other ones I actually really like is a one strap that's on my back. So I can alternate the shoulders, which helps me a lot. Because if a bag is too much weight or it's pulling on one side, that's definitely a trigger for me.
Okay.
Um, so bags, and oh, that was that. I say bags with a very Wisconsin accent. Um, oh gosh, there was one other that I was thinking of, and I completely lost it.
It's okay.
But it's
Happens
my
to me
my
all.
despite my lower back not being fused, I feel like the pain there is just like day to day. Most of my pain is all in the upper. Like, if I'm leaning too much, I feel that. Um, mhm.
I feel like I'm the opposite. But I feel like I'm at the point where it's like, hey, work out. We've been overcompensating down here. Like the lumbar is just like, help me. so
We're having to picture that every time I lower back. Help me.
so I'm just like, maybe this like running training will hopefully, because then I feel like, all right, I know this is most likely from not moving, but then it's like, oh, but it's a new pain, so now I'm scared to move. And then it's just like, okay, work through it though, because if you move, you'll feel better. But I feel like they instill in you that, like for me, like told me to quit everything and whatever. So it's like, okay, listen to your body and keep moving. So that,
That's also that's also a hard concept, is like when you are in a state of discomfort, you don't necessarily want to move,
yeah,
but it will
but
likely
it
make you feel better.
better.
Again, not a doctor, but just
But
from
it's,
experience,
yep,
to literally get the blood flowing and just very gentle movement. You don't have to do anything crazy, but the gentle movement can be very, very helpful.
definitely learning that.
Even, yeah, oh, gosh, keep talking about running, but like
No, go for it.
the running warm up is also, I think, even more important when you have a spinal fusion. So not only do I warm up my lower body before running, I do a lot of upper body as well, because if my trunk is stiff, I'm going to be stiff, and then that
That's so
causes a whole
true.
host of other problems.
Yeah, I feel like it's like two people are running.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like my upper half is stiff, my bottom half is loose, and these guys are just like trying to hang out together. But like it's weird because the top can feel so different from the bottom sometimes.
And if you're having a really stiff day, it impacts your breathe. Like your legs can feel fine, but your breathing might be off, and your
Yeah.
posture, and that affects different things because of how we're structured. Um, but I do a lot with like a TheraBand, like some pullovers and just like other shoulder work. There's one
Okay.
I do a lot of Peloton strength classes,
Nice.
which it's fun. That's like a whole nother topic, but like it, as a caveat to that, I'll just say like, if you're in group fitness classes or even in running, like not trying to always keep up with other people doing it or the instructor. Like, not to say you need everything modified, because you don't, but you're the one who's going to feel your pain or discomfort the next day,
Yeah.
and you know what works for you. So like you can still challenge yourself, but focus on what you need, what you're doing, and meet yourself where you are in the day, not meeting other people or
People.
the trainer where they are, because they're at a very different place than you. But there's one, I actually do this a lot. I'm sure there's a technical name for it, but like to get your upper body a little more loose, it's like you kind of do that and then just like open. You're like slicking back your hair, like just
Oh.
up, and then just like kind of a little bit of a
Oh.
chest opener, and you get it in your back.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
really
like that's
good.
the whole thing.
I really enjoy that for as one part of my running
Yeah.
warm up. Or
I'm gonna do
during a
that.
run, if I'm feeling stiff during my walk break, I did this yesterday. Actually, I was like, we're just gonna open it up a little bit. I look a little crazy walking around,
Hold on, let me
during my
move
walk
my
break.
mic so I can actually do it.
But like you just really like you're
So
gonna
you
slick your
just
hair
like
just like
go
back,
slick your hair back.
and then you just
Oh
like
wow.
open. It just again, it's not a PT, not a doctor. I
I
saw a
feel
Peloton
so good
instructor
though.
do it. It's real nice if you've been sitting, just a little gentle. I'm just gonna stretch it out a little
I
bit.
just like breathe, let me go. And
Yep.
just like.
Like, I'm cool. Just stretching. Just stretching.
Cool. I'm excited. I'm excited because you write so much about running and it's like very helpful because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to it as I go on this journey because yeah, I'm a little nervous for 6 miles. So well, because
You
six
can do it.
k,
You
6 miles,
have to think
right?
about your costume too. You have to think about your costume.
I know. What am I gonna wear? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'll have to. Yes, I'll start.
Mm-hmm.
I have to start sharing that journey.
Yeah, you do. We need other fusion runners out there. I know there's quite a few, but we could
I
always use
only
some
know
more.
you so far, Natalie. So I can't believe like there's a whole world of just spinal fusion baddies doing so many things. So it's really cool to see you and your journey and just everything you've done. Metal rods be damned.
Metal rods be
That
damned.
is the name of
Yeah.
this episode for you. Just
I love
that
it.
has to be. I love it so much. And yeah, I just want to say like thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and for writing. You're a great writer. Congratulations on
Thank
graduating
you.
this spring. And just something that really stuck out to me along with that quote, but you really do talk about like personal discipline. And I think that's something I know for myself I'm lacking. So I'm sure that there's other people listening who also do lack that. So just on an end note, what would be a piece of advice on a journey where you're kind of just starting out on that personal discipline? What are things that helped you stay?
Ooh, that's a loaded question
I
too.
know that.
The discipline, it comes with time. You're not always going to have it right away. Same with like motivation. Motivation is a fleeting thing. And you have to not be afraid to keep doing it. Like, you're not going to feel motivated every day, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. There's a lot of days where I'm like, I don't feel like running, but I'm going to get out there anyway. And then when you do it, 9 times out of 10, you're like, well, damn, that was actually really good. I feel
Okay.
so good. Um, and a lot, a lot of it, it's about taking that first step and whatever that looks like to you. Which can be, again, that comes with its own challenge too. But just not being afraid to get out there and do it, because you're not going to know how you feel physically or even mentally until you get out there and do the thing.
Natalie.
Thanks, Jack. I'm excited to follow your running journey now too.
Yeah, definitely. I just started because I just started. I think I posted it. Yeah, Fuse Fridays. So I'm like,
I love
okay,
that, by the
we're gonna
way.
start. Thanks. I was like, I need motivation to like keep going because, like, like you said, you're not always gonna want to, but it's like I'm trying to just remember old, like 10-year me or like 11-year post-op me, and I'm just trying to do it for her because I know what I've been doing for most of my fusion wasn't beneficial for my body. So it's never
There's
too late.
one, I guess I can leave with the final. It's not my quote, but the marathoner, Des Linden. There was one quote she had a while ago that it always resonates with me and is very like it's another mindset. Keep showing up. If you're not necessarily feeling great or weather's shitty, just keep showing up.
Little excuses that sneak in are the challenging ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like weather being shitty is like, but it's like those are the moments where it's like that's gonna grow the next, the next that grows that personal discipline pretty much. So like that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm like, okay. That is like the key advice. I feel like I keep reading, like you're saying it, and I'm like, all right, gotta show up for myself when I'm not in the mood.
Yep, just keep showing up.
Oh,
You got it.
love it. Well, thank you so much, Natalie. Shout out your Instagram and your website where you do all your awesome blogs and all that good stuff.
Sure. My Instagram is at runner Natty Lynn underscores between all those. And my website is Tall Girl in a Small State. I started a long time ago when I was living in Rhode Island. Uh, then I moved to New Jersey, which is also a small state, and Massachusetts, where I'm at now, is still pretty small. So
Yeah,
I've kept the
I
title.
think it's a good title. I did read that too. I'm like, oh, this is smart. I like it. This is very cool. Awesome. Well, I had so much fun chatting. For everyone who's listening, thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course.